Hello, everyone. This is Faheem Jackson, and it's episode 123 of my podcast show, In the Know. This podcast is aimed at trying to guide people through the world with a variety of topics. I'm also using this platform to ask questions and try my best to answer questions with viewpoints of the world around me. The following episode introduction speech is for the topic of today. And that introduction speech is regarding, are aliens killing the idea of God's existence? Have you guys been seeing these videos of supposed aliens out in the world? Because the United States government has been covering up the idea that they exist. But for me, I have mixed emotions regarding this topic of discussion. And the reason being is because you never know what to expect when the government is involved. For starters, I see the one side where the government could be working on projects that are beyond what we can comprehend. On the other side, that there are phenomena that we can't explain. The universe is a major world of its own that we don't know what it lies beyond, and that unknown is what makes us keep digging for answers. But this topic today is regarding, what if we found aliens to be true? What would happen to religion? The idea of God could potentially be hurt by these newfound facts. How would this affect our society? So listen and enjoy, and I hope you gain something from this show. What are aliens? The definition of aliens are individuals who are residing in any country that is not on their own soil or their country of citizenship. And for the longest time, this is the definition of the word we know of. But the aliens from the topic we discuss today are extraterrestrial beings. These beings are beings that have been seen, but no physical evidence can point to their existence. There are images that have been created, but these can easily be tossed out as something else in the sky. People have reported that they have been abducted by aliens as well, though none of these stories are credible enough to truly explore their validity. Now, the government has put out some recent statements regarding questions surrounding extraterrestrial beings spotted over land. It has caught the attention of naval pilots who have seen these alien machines moving in excess of speeds where our world's current technological advances cannot mirror. So whoever they are and wherever they come from, they have access to more than what we can do, which leads into our next section. Where do they come from? The idea that alien being coming from another place in our universal land at some point in time on Earth is beyond us. Humans feel and assume there's more out there, but we have yet to come across a place where we can say where an alien might come from. Is it possible that the aliens could come from the moon? Well, that has been so far ruled out because we have studied so much of the moon. Well, what about the planet of Mars? Rovers has been sent to the planet, and no real signs of aliens have been found. Although there are pictures that have raised some eyebrows. These pictures have been written off as anomalies that could easily be confused as a rock or some other land formation. Maybe aliens could be coming from a planet that we thought life couldn't exist on, that they're able to survive on. If they can travel through space, then they can surely find a way to survive on a planet that we don't define as terrestrial. So making that assumption, then it is possible to ever visit any of these planets. Maybe they could be from another universe. Can we travel to their homes? With our current technology, there's no way to travel through our solar system to another place outside the moon. Who knows where we will go 100 years from now? Could it be possible to travel beyond to find out? In my opinion, no. Because the next generation, the next terrestrial land, it's nearly 4.7 light years away. But wait a minute. Who's to say that planet has to be terrestrial to inhabit alien life? And when you look at the definition of aliens, we as humans are qualified as aliens. When we, for example, observe life on Mars, we don't call them aliens, but here we call them Martians. And we also have to break down what form in which the aliens present themselves. A tree, a plant, and even microbes are considered alien, or shall I say Martians, if we find them. It doesn't have to be actual walking and talking humanoids. Now I've been fixated on Mars, but what about Saturn and Jupiter? These gas giants are impossible to us, but what about another life form that can travel here? But still, even if we made the journey, there's nowhere to land to find out. So for now, we can only observe most planets. Then again, these planets have moons we can land spacecraft on, yet the people being able to move about is not possible, so we'll have to use a rover. Then, with that said, are the aliens already among us? Are they already here? What if the aliens are already here living among us on this planet? That would be just as tough, if not tougher, to figure out than if they lived out of this world in another universe. And for the sake of argument, let's say that the aliens are here. Then where do they reside on this planet? Because if they are around us, surely we can figure out who they are, or maybe not. See, they might see us, but we don't see them. Or we see them and don't quite understand who they are and why they're here. Aliens could be in the most obvious place on Earth. Let's assume that aliens live in our forestry areas. These are areas where people dwell to a degree, but to a large degree, most people live in urban metropolitan areas. So a lot of forestry consists of animals. Who knows, animals may be able to have contact with alien life themselves directly. But why only animals and maybe plants? Why are we not able to reach out to them ourselves? Or have we ever tried communicating with them? Because I have never heard of a campaign put together to communicate with an extraterrestrial being or civilization. Let's assume we tried. What would that look like? And that leads us into the next area, which is, can we communicate with them? Are we moving toward a place where we're able to reach out to aliens and speak with them directly? We don't have any technology as a means of reaching out and locating another life form that is alien. But wait a minute. Maybe the aliens have a way to directly communicate with us. But who says we're interesting enough to talk to? That is why we're trying to communicate with them instead of the other way around. And it's funny how I said technology is not there yet, because we probably can talk to them. It's just that we're trying too hard to talk to them. They're probably so simple to communicate with that it might make us feel bad not being able to do so. Even if we're able to reach out, what will we talk about? What can we be able to learn from them? Can they aid us in figuring out a problem that they know how to fix? Is there anything we can do to aid them in something they may need help with? We think that if they have come from another planet or universe, that they are more advanced than ourselves. And as far as travel, then yes. But they could have Achilles' heel that is important to them. So with all that has been said in this episode, how does God get hurt in this whole ordeal? How does this hurt God? If there were an ability to reach out and contact with aliens, what would this mean for the existence of religion? It might mean God being replaced because the idea of another being better than ourselves could hurt the belief. We were taught that we as humans have so much domain over the lands and skies. But now this being has the domain more powerful. How about the Bible didn't talk about this? If God was so powerful, it would mean breaking down all the religions and showing the masses their belief system is faulty. This could frustrate people, but the problem is that you have no control over the universe. So who do you get upset at life with? There is no government in control over this, so people are forced to live within their reality. It means belief systems collapsing and people left with nowhere to turn. But what stems from that is people left with questions. So, if aliens are found, now what? Since we have found aliens, let's assume, what would that mean now? Because it is obvious that belief systems would be in question. But the biggest question would be, how do we exactly proceed forward? Do we prepare ourselves to live a life where there's just our new friends? Or do we try to thwart them away from us? Now, the second question can't be possible because they are way too smart for us to get rid of them. So the first question will remain. These are our friends and we must figure out a way to coexist with them. For the religious people, they are put in a weird place now. They now have these beings from a universe making them question when they don't want to. Some of these people may still pray for God for guidance. Why? Well, it's because they may see this as a test from God as to how strong their faith may be. This leads into the area of interest, which is how believers might react. How would the believers deny this? If these new beings are going to be appearing and making themselves known, how are people moving that belief in God? Like the last section, I spoke and I would talk about how the believers will rationalize this new life. First, they would deny and say this is a test of their faith. The devil is trying to tempt them in some shape or form. But how do you ignore something in your face at this point in time? Me, I can't walk around with blinders over my face. It's easy to toss something out when it is man-constructed. Aliens are standing in front of you. The believers will look to the verses in the Bible in other religious texts as a means to make sense of their new reality. Because there is something in any religious text which speaks of extraterrestrial beings walking around. And with the newfound information, what will this do for the people who are in positions of power? Because we always look to them as a top food chain. Well, when there are more intelligent life forms, shouldn't we be following them? So what will come of the power structure? Here's where things get to a crazy place, simply because who should be truly governing us as a society? If there are beings that are above the smartest and brightest of our species, shouldn't it be them as the leaders? But wait a minute, who is to say that the beings are capable of leading? What if the alien being is not a humanoid that is capable of communicating with people? They may be great at moving through the universe, but can't teach us how to do so ourselves. Who is to say they can and want to contribute to our society? We assume they want to communicate with us or even overtake us. That is an assumption that we're even important enough to even observe that deeply. Yes, our power structure would be a little different considering now we have this new intelligent base. Now, if they are not interested in taking us over or working with us, then they become window dressing. We will study them in order to observe how they move as an attempt to mirror what they do. And maybe, just maybe, we will come close to accomplishing what they have done, even if it's in a small dose. So, do we have God all wrong? Maybe. What does that mean? I was thinking about something regarding God. What happens if we have had God all wrong all along? God could be the very person who has given us signs of another life form. Man has said that God created the earth and gave humans the domain over the lands and skies. This is the writings by those of the past, which itself was written second, third hand, even multiple hands over time. What if verses were omitted from the text that talked about beings from elsewhere? This could easily be something man wanted taken out, for it could mean something that God didn't create better than us. Here is something else we might have wrong about God. Aliens could be a reality given to us by God to allow man to see a creature greater than us going to aid us in making us better. That is hard for our species to understand because we want to believe we are special and that there's no life form that is as smart as ourselves. With aliens also, it forces us to observe the writings and then make adjustments to our religious texts. So from there, do we rewrite religious texts? The biblical texts that we read from different religions might have to be updated to reflect this new information because we can't have these new creatures moving about the land while we have these texts. It would mean getting rid of text or finding a new way to make it work in this new world. I don't think that religious text should be tossed out if there's information about aliens. There's still something very much inspiring about the way in which the Bible or biblical texts are written, which gives humanity a semblance of peace, guidance, and faith. Humanity will always need something to lean to as a means of getting ourselves strength when we are weak. And if these are the words to do that, then throw them out? No, it just doesn't make any sense to me. We need to keep all aspects of life which gives and keep people going. These are the words to do that. Then so be it. Now, with that said, what would our scholars say about this in the scientific community? Scientists clearly go against the religious side, but what about the idea of extraterrestrial life? This is something that even the scientific community sometimes differ on. What is the scientific perspective? From the viewpoint of the scientific community, they would first be skeptical about extraterrestrial beings on Earth in the first place. Then, once the alien life was proven to be right, scientists would salivate at the mouths from these new findings. It would mean possibly a way for the scientists to try to develop some form of communication as a means to further understand these life forms. How did they get here? How long have they been here? Where did they come from? Can we communicate with them? Are they a threat to us in society? Is there anything they can help us with in life? Are they here for good or just passing through? What do they consume as a means for survival? There are so many questions regarding the aliens' existence. Scientists may come to the conclusion that they have no interest in dealing with the human species. For so long, aliens have been disregarded as fictional, but now they have a place in our world. So what are some of my views on what this could mean? Let's look at my perspective. I've always been interested in the idea of aliens. and we have not been able to verify the existence. So we have had all the speculation over the years. So far, the topic at hand, how would this impact the idea of God? For me, I don't think that religion will get affected that much at all. People have been moving away from religious texts over the years anyways. Well, this has been going on at least in the United States soil. People will always be looking to dismiss the newfound information, but then you have people who will question their faith. But see, my main question is, what will happen now that we no longer have to look to the sky and guess? Because they are among us and will be more comfortable with moving around us. This is what leads into the next section. Where does society go from here? Society has just found out that aliens exist. So now what? I have given a perspective from the scientific viewpoint in mind. What's interesting is that we have no clue what would happen if aliens popped up. We don't know how religion will react. Some might not think about it too much. But also, you might have some religious groups react with upset. But who do you know will get mad? There's nothing you can do. You have no choice but to accept this newfound information. I still think there's an aspect of religion and God that can get hurt. You can't tell humans how special we are with something more intelligent among us. But who knows what form the aliens might come in? Aliens might be something we never thought would happen, or what it would be. It might be a form of life that religion writes off as a work of God, because the term extraterrestrial aliens is a very ambiguous term. Stories from the biblical text could be used to explain this new phenomenon. With this end statement, why we have to know if aliens could kill the idea of God. This has been an interesting take on the idea of aliens and God. How do people make sense of it all? Because we can all say how God would be affected if aliens were to be found in existence. Yet is there something that will truly happen which will put faith in jeopardy? Especially since the idea of God is going away in developing nations anyways. But let's be real. What are the odds of extraterrestrial life existing in our lifetime? Because what makes us so special that extraterrestrials would present themselves anyways? We have convinced ourselves that we, as a species, are this special group. Yes, humanity has built some pretty impressive infrastructure. We have made advancements in science and technology, but aliens might see us as we see chimps. Maybe they will present themselves, or maybe not. For now, this is all just speculation. Thank you for listening to In the Know. I'll be bringing you another episode regarding religion. The topic will be asking the question, God exists. So what questions do we have for him?